because I can't. Maybe YouTube will ban us.
Priyanjana finally revealing how she broke both her legs.
Like, I need help now.
So he goes, well, maybe you could. No, we'll not post. There are people who would want my feet pictures. So, are you pregnant? And I just look at him like,
And then I can't help. Blah blah blah, everything. And he gave me three ordonance, they call them. So I said, that's all. And she was like, yeah. Okay. I was like, oh, parfait. Au revoir.
dirty person. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Masala and
Salsa
Podcast with Andrea and
Priyanjana.
Oh my god, this is getting me all confused. But anyways, so yes, we changed places.
Yeah, because apparently one of our subscribers, which means like one person who listens, told us that our names are written that way, so it will be confusing. So, Masala, Priyanjana.
And Salsa, Andrea. So I hope you don't get confused. But anyways, so on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the insurance and medical stuff in France that we have experienced. Of course, we're talking about our experiences, and then we're going to try to explain a little bit like how it works. And yeah, some of that thing. So yes, Priyanjana, can you tell us about like the insurance in France and these things?
So I think France is really interesting in terms of because it provides you universal healthcare, which is for our users in US, something that you will long for. But it's not entirely like universal healthcare. So basically, once you come here and you have to show it like you're here living for a longer time. I think it's more than 3 months.
Yeah,
and then if you show that, then they'll give you it's called Amélie or it's called
Amelie. That's that's the insurance in general.
In general. So you would need a Carte Vitale, which is basically your health insurance social security card, which covers 70% of all your medical expenses that you incur in the public healthcare sector. But the rest 30% you have to pay from your insurance, and those things we'll dive deep into what exactly those are. And it's a long process, it's a tiring process because the amount of documents you need to show, and then you have to beg Emily to give it to you. It's not one of the most smoothest process, but it will save your life. Trust me.
Yes. Trust. Yeah. Show us your finger.
Yeah, I'm doing this because I can't. Maybe YouTube will ban us.
Yeah, this is one of the coolest things that you can find. I mean, that France is offering like to all the citizens and residents.
I think most European countries do that.
But I'm not sure about that. I'm just talking about what I know from France. I don't know Belgium, you live there, but I haven't.
Belgium, like I said, I was on a semester exchange, so we definitely didn't have that.
So they don't have it. So it's like here in France, as I think you can ask for that if you're also like staying for 6 months, which is like the Euro, how you call those
Erasmus.
Yeah.
And also they have this really cool stuff. Again, I'm not sure if it's all over Europe, but if you're in France and you're here, you have Carte Vitale, you can also ask for a CPAM, which is like a European card. So that card will help you if you travel throughout Europe and you face a medical emergency, then you can put that CPAM card, which will give you almost the same treatment as any other nationality from that European like EU region.
Yeah.
So you have CPAM?
Yeah, since I'm European, I can apply for it. No.
But no, we can. I have the card with me.
That was a mistake from the administration then.
Because once you have Carte Vitale and you're living here, if you're a resident, you can apply for the CPAM card.
Okay, no, I don't have that.
You should apply.
But I have a better one.
Yeah, which we'll dive deep more into this conversation. But that's only for France. But if something happens to you in Europe, you would need a CPAM card because that will give you the same treatment.
It's so like for example, universal care in
EU, in Europe. Yeah, so if I get ill in say Netherlands, and I'll of course have to call the doctor and ask if they accept CPAM. And if I have that, with that card, I will be paying as similar pricing to a Dutch national.
Okay.
So that's really helpful.
So I hope I never get sick or anything abroad. Outside France.
Outside France.
So yes. So how have you gotten? Yes, you have. Okay, that's one thing. That's the Amelie part. That's the insurance that the government of France gives to you, which, like she already said, gives you the 70% of the total cost of like, anything, right? But apart from that, we have this other option or benefit, no benefit because option benefits because you need to look for the other part of the it's Mutuelle, or the other part of the insurance that is called Mutuelle. But that depends also, like if you are an employee or if you are a person with lower incomes, or it depends. So in this case, Priyanjana, would you like to tell us about your experience with this kind of Mutuelle?
Well, as we mentioned, when I came here, we knew that we have universal healthcare, so I thought it's like 70% of my thing is covered. I don't need anything for 30%. I'm not gonna fall sick. I did not fall sick, but I fell down from my bed and broke both my legs. Yep.
How?
Let's put this like in breaking news. Priyanjana finally revealing how she broke both her legs.
Yeah.
Well, it's a funny story, and you can believe it or you cannot believe it, as half of my friends don't. But what I'm going to say is actual bitter truth. Like it is the truth. There's nothing attached to it.
I mean, no one was with her, so we cannot really testify if
Yeah,
that's why
but
we.
that is the truth. I
Okay.
woke up from my bed around 3 in the morning because it was hot. So I opened my window and I slept. But around 3 in the morning, it started to get cold. So I was like, oh, I will wake up and close the window. But sometimes when you wake up, but your legs don't wake up.
Yeah, only your brain wakes up and your body is still
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah. So I woke up and I stood. And I stood and I realized like my legs, they weren't awake yet, because it was like I was sleepy. It was 3 in the morning. I had class the next day. So I was just woke up and I couldn't find balance and I fell down. I don't have a bunk bed. It's just a regular bed. And I fell down. And once I fell down, I had a huge pain in my leg. Like I could feel it. But I was like, okay, it's 3 in the morning. It's like, it's dark. What should I do? So I held like the the bed, the leg of the bed, and there was a leg of the chair. I had to drag the chair from the other corner because it was far away. And then I held both of them to get up, and I got up, and then I walked till the window, closed the window, and then I lie down on my bed, that hoping the pain will go away. Also because it was 3 in the morning, so nothing will happen. So I was like, there's nothing I could do. So I'm just lying down on my bed and like waiting, like, okay, this will pass away. If you remember, I actually texted in the group around like 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't recall it, but
Yeah. I texted like, oh, I have a little thing in my leg. I think I'm not, if somebody has, a balm or something. I texted that in the group because my legs were hurting and I still wasn't sure if it's a fracture. But I was just lying in my bed, and 5 o'clock, I'm like, okay, if somebody is coming to school, you can please bring that thing for me. And till 7, the pain had not gone, and I had my class at like 11 o'clock. So I was like, okay, this pain is way too much. So I was like, okay, I'll get up and ask my roommate if he has a balm or an ibuprofen or something to ease the pain. And as soon as I got off my bed, and my roommate's room is like 10 meters from my room, till the time I reached his room, I knew something is wrong because my legs had given up. Like I could not walk that 10 meters as well. So I like dragged myself. I knocked at his like room, like, I need your help. And he was obviously asleep at 7 in the morning. And so I could not find anything. So I just grabbed like the counter of the kitchen and just sat outside because I could not stand anymore. Yeah. He opens the door and I'm like, my legs are hurting. Can you help me? He's asleep. He says nice and goes back inside. I was like, I shout his name, and then he opens the door again, and I was like, I need help now. So he goes back inside to bring the cream for my feet, and I'm sitting and he's putting cream on my feet. And that time I've realized that it's broken, but I don't know what to say, what to do, because yeah, it was like really swollen. Maybe you could. No, we'll not post. There are people who would want my feet pictures. We're not posting that.
Like a pregnant lady having a swollen ankle.
Yeah. And because it was both my legs, so both of them were swollen.
Yeah.
And he and I kind of at that point knew it's broken, but I was like in Delulu that I don't want to like break. So I'm on the second floor of my house. I climbed down 2 floors, and there's a which is like a government hospital,
Mm.
medical hospital, which is right next to my house, which is like literally like my house and the thing shares boundaries. I was like, I'll just walk till there. I climbed on 2 floors and I start walking towards it, and I realize I can't fucking walk. So I just like stand there. My roommate goes and check. The doctors aren't there. So we're like, oh, what should we do? So we ask our landlord, and my landlord was like, what happened? Where is she? And like, oh, she's sitting outside because I was just sitting on the road. I had no energy left to like stand up.
Mhm.
My landlord comes outside. He looks at my legs and he's like, oh, we should go to the urgence right now. Urgence is like an emergency service, which they call emergency, but it is not emergency. Everything in France is on delay. So he puts me in his car, takes me to the hospital, and at the hospital they ask for my carte vitale, which is the first thing. Which luckily, my roommate like he went and he grabbed everything that I needed, so he had that. And then they asked for a thing called Mutuelle, which I didn't have, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" Um, yeah, and I was like, "Okay, we'll think about this later." And
Because
then
you were still a student, no?
yeah, I
Yeah.
was still a student and I didn't know what to do. And I didn't really know we did like a mutual kind of thing. And yeah, and then we went to the doctor and he looked at it. Like we knew that both of them are broken.
Oh.
But yeah, that reminds sleep is really important, and that's why we are wearing these PJs from Paisley, which is a Indo-Thai brand, and these people make these really nice sleepwear which are made of breathable material, so you get a good night's sleep.
So yes, you don't broke your ankles like Priyanjana.
Like I'm pretty sure Paisley can't promise that you will not break your ankles.
But it will help you to sleep better.
It'll help you sleep better because it's so breathable. But yeah, and then it was really funny because at that time I did not speak French that great. Not that I do it now. But it was even more funny because I was in pain and I had to do everything in French because it's a French hospital.
Mhm.
And I go inside, my roommate takes me. My landlord doesn't speak a word of French, so he's like, I'm going to be outside. My roommate goes in with me and they start asking questions. And the first question, like when, like, after my name, blood group, so my roommate is translating, like, name, blood group, blood group. He's doing all that. And then when they look at my ankle, the first question they have in their mind is, are you pregnant? And my roommate should know if I'm pregnant. But he goes like, so are you pregnant? And I just look at him like, you know the answer. He's like, answer the question. Like, no. And then they go around and they're like, so are you on birth control? And I was like, I just looked at my roommate like, out. He's like, I don't want to share any of those information with my roommate. Yeah, so they take me away from my roommate and then they start asking me questions. And mind you, I'm in pain. I have 2 broken feet and I'm trying to answer those questions in French. And they are using medical terms which I have no idea. So they ask me, and after a while, I'm like, okay, I can't. And I just say, I don't speak French. So they bring another person who speaks English and she starts asking me questions. And then the question is like, you drink? Like they're doing, you, because she couldn't remember the word for smoke. You feel, I'm playing dumb charades with the nurse there. Like, what happened? And I'm trying to explain, like, oh, I was going to close the window. She understood I fell from the window. Yeah, it was like a whole mess. Like, the amount of time, like, and finally I was able to explain to them with my broken French and their broken English what happened. And then they took me for the radio and everything. Yeah. But yeah, I went to the hospital at like 9:30, and with everything finished, I came back like 5 in the evening. So
So long.
yeah, so it's urgence, like it's emergency, but it's not really emergency. If somebody else is like there who is with has a more emergency than you, they'll take him. But
Yeah.
because it's like a public sector, it's not like I like they did not have any food or anything inside. I was hungry since 9 o'clock. I had not eaten a thing, so and I mean I could not go myself and buy myself something because I'm on a wheelchair. I did not have money or anything on me because they just put me inside. I had no battery, so the entire experience was really just tiring. Like what to do? I'm inside in a place where I don't even speak the language. So yeah, it was a bit weird. But luckily, and once I left, they were like, I was not asked for any money or anything. And I was like, okay, this is weird. I'm leaving.
Everything goes right to the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just left after this entire horrific experience, and they were like, "Oh, you don't have to pay anything. We'll ask you when you
not
have to."
yet. Not yet,
Yeah,
lady.
but yeah, after like 2.5, 3 months, I received my entire medical bill, and there was, of course, I had to pay 30% of the entire treatment. For the medicines as well, like I had to pay like 30% of the medicines because I was supposed to get these injections for like 30 days. So those I took and the entire thing. But the good thing is, I only had to pay 30%. But if you want to avoid that 30%, you can get yourself a mutual.
Yes, but before passing to the mutual, just like with your experience, like you couldn't do anything, and you are here alone. Like none of your family, no one here could help you that much, and even like friends because they were also at school, and like
Yeah, everybody
it
was
was
at
very
school.
yeah. It should have been like a
Yeah.
very hard experience for you too.
Yeah, I remember you weren't here either because you didn't have class that day.
No, I was in Paris actually,
Yeah,
and you were texting and blah blah, and I was like, I'm not there.
yeah, because I was like, I don't want other people to skip classes, which like they were super nice. They were like, oh, we'll come, but it was the last day of school.
Perfect day to broke a
Yeah,
yeah.
but luckily, I mean, I had my landlord and my roommate, but
Yeah.
my roommate also went. He had to attend his class, so he went for a while, but there was nothing he could do because inside it was just me, nobody else was allowed.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it was so funny. Like they're asking me how much is the pain, so they're like 0 pain, 10 pain. Like I'm just playing dumb charades with them.
So yeah, now going through what is a mutuelle. Well, you will explain us what is private mutuelle.
Yeah,
But yeah, mutuelle is like the other part of the insurance that will help you to pay the rest of the not covered by the social security. So this is paid 30%, and there is also another nice thing from the government, French government, which is called the I forgot the name, but it's Santé Solidaire.
CSS,
It's called
complémentaire santé.
Complémentaire Santé Solidaire. So it's free and it's by the government. So in this case, if Priyanjana would have had this CSS, she would have paid nothing. So but yeah, you have to. I actually realized this was existing because a friend of mine that also goes to school and blah blah, blah she said to me like, oh Andrea, by any chance do you have the what is called like CSS? And I was like, no, what is it? And she's like, oh, this is like the mutual that the government gives to people that has lower income or is actually like a student and this and that. I was okay, I'm gonna have a look. And so I started doing my research, and then yes, it's normally like in the Amelie app, I think you have to just send your application. You say like how much money are you receiving, if you're receiving any, and like those kind of things that are actually like the questions from the government. And once you submit everything, they just go through a check on your profile and everything, and they try to match everything. And then after like a month or so, they will give you the answer like, oh, you have been selected to get this CSS. So yeah, that's another cool thing. um, and yes, that's I have used that, but we will go into those later on.
And so now, if you talk about private mutual, something that you can buy yourself, in case you don't have CSS, you can just request for a private mutual. There are different companies that offer, and there are different rates. So sometimes you have to pay like 15 euros a month. Sometimes it's 30 euros a month, depending on what things you choose. And it can go beyond like, again, like how it's insurance in every other country in the world that you add on things, it becomes. But as students, you can get like as cheap as 15 euros per month, which I would say is a good investment if you are in a condition like me, or something happens to you and if you don't have a CSS. Now, since I've started working, at work it is compulsory for your employer to give you a mutual. Like they have to pay for it. So it's not exactly they pay for it because they pay 50% for it, and the other 50% goes from your salary, so it's included. So it's not something that you can negotiate or anything, but it is required by the company, to by the government, that your company pays you. So now I have a Mutuelle, and then I think I've made of porcelain at this point because I broke my finger, and I had to go to the hospital again. So this works like your regular insurance. So if you go to like a, again, it depends from hospital to hospital. When I went to the medical, because the first thing I had to do is go to a GP, because last time I went to the emergency and it was okay. This time I waited for 15 days because I'm stupid. I didn't realize till 15 days that I've broken my finger.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 days I'm traveling solo in Netherlands and Prague and Kharkov without realizing I've broken my finger. And then,
In Krakow.
yeah, so 15 days later when I went, I was like, oh, it's not an emergency. So you can't really go to the doctor directly. It's not allowed in France. So if you want to go to a specialist, you have to go through a GP first. So I went to the GP, and there, so in that position, they did not have a way to like pay directly. My doctor did not, but some doctors do have it. So I had to pay the 30% cost of going to a doctor, which generally is around 25 euros. So you have to pay like 30%, like 30% that you have to pay comes around 20-25 euros, which I paid, but which was later reimbursed to me. So I have to put all my documents up on the app of my health insurance, and I got it reimbursed. So the GP then refers you to a specialist, but it's like a very weird situation because so the GP recommended me to go to get a radio, which is in English it's like an X-ray of your bones. But to get that X-ray, you again can't go to the X-ray thing directly, because like in India you can just go to a radiology and get an X-ray, like and if it's a specified X-ray, then you need a doctor's prescription, and doctors, they can give it online, they can do it on a call. But here the doctor wanted to see me and then give me a prescription, so I had to wait till I find a GP's appointment. So I can't just like walk in and go. So I had to wait. I got a GP's appointment, and then from that I went to the radio, and then radio was like I could not get any radio near me for like 15 days. And I was like, I can't wait another 15 days. Like this thing is broken. It's going to like not work at all. So I had to go to a far off place from my house. Like it was in another city almost, where I got like the radio for the next day. And that's where I got my radio. And when the doctor saw my radio, like in my prescription it said it's my finger is broken, and now I'm panicking again because I've broken something. But I again can't go to a specialist directly that my finger is broken, so I can't go to an orthopedic that fix this. I again had to go to the GP, ask him to write me a note that said go to a orthopedic surgeon. So this entire process like took me like 15 days. So you can realize how weird it is.
Yeah, I think that's a bad side of insurance in France.
Yeah.
But only like that's like the waiting time.
Yeah. So I had to go to him, and then I finally got my correct treatment. So it took longer to recover. But I didn't have to pay, like at least at my GP I had to pay because they didn't have it. But when I went to the specialist, that was a different hospital, so there I had to pay nothing. For my radio, when I went, I had to pay nothing because that's between my insurance company and the hospital directly. So in those conditions, like you don't even have to pay on the spot, that you will get reimbursed later. So I think that's a great thing for, and especially when you've come as a foreigner, you might not have enough liquid asset to give right away. So that's something which is really good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what was your, because you recently went to a GP as well, how was your experience?
Yes, actually, I went before going to Mexico, and I was like, oh, let's try the medical stuff in here in France. So, but to get to a GP first, you have to also look into an app and find a specific date to make an appointment.
And then you also need to see if they speak English
exactly
or not.
Yeah, and if they accept like a third
party
payment, and then
or if they're even taking new clients at all,
because
or not.
sometimes the doctors they prefer those ones that have been recommended kind of things, like if you were asking for a job. So yeah, that's another thing that you have to be doing your own research on on the app. So the app will show you all the doctors that are there, and the ones that can take you, and the ones that are not gonna take
If you want to know the app, comment.
you. So yes, for this I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and see, and yeah, I went to the jeep first. They ask you like, oh, your Carte Vitale, and only that, and I think your ID, and that was it.
We went to the same GP, right?
I think so, because I
So
recommended to you.
yeah, but you got this CSS, so they didn't ask you. But because I had the mutual, they asked me to
Yes.
pay on the
So
spot.
I went there and I went into my GP, and he started explaining like blah 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 everything, and he gave me three ordonance, they call
Yeah.
them. So it was the opposite to you. Like you will have to go and find a X-ray, and then after that, the X-ray you will have to come back and blah blah. Blah.
Yeah.
So he gave me the three things because I also need a X-ray.
Yeah.
Or also he gave me for going to the orthopedist,
Yeah.
and then he also gave me for another issue that I was having issue problem. And then once I finished, I went to the front desk, and the lady was like, "Hi, everything was good, madam." Blah blah blah. Blah. And I was like,
In
"Yeah, yeah,
French.
yeah." Yeah. And then she was like, "Okay, here's your Carte Vitale," and I was like, "And here are your three ordinance." Like I don't remember the prescriptions.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, at what time she's gonna ask me for the for the credit card? You know, like
Yeah.
to make a
To
payment or
pay.
something." And she was like, "Au revoir, bonne journée." And I was like, "C'est tout? That's all?"
Hmm.
And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay." I was like, "Oh, parfait. Au revoir." So I just left. And then after 2, 3 months, I checked on the Amelie app just because I was curious about like how my Amelie app was looking like. And it appeared that I have already made a 30 euros payment, but I didn't do anything. Like I was just making sure that I didn't have to pay that it was like a payment that I have to do, or if it was already paid. So I was looking into that, and apparently it was all paid. So that made me think like it was covered by the social security, and then also by the mutual that I was having. So I didn't have to pay nothing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, which I don't think I could have done that the same in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because in Mexico it's either you have insurance by the company that you are working for, or you get a private insurance also.
Yeah.
So it's either mixed or separately.
Yeah, same.
But
Like in India, we have the same thing. So I have my family insurance, but again, as an employee, my company is required to give me uh, like some health insurance, but I've not used it yet. Like in India, because my family insurance had like because I was still part of my family insurance, so it had a larger cover. So it's better
until
to.
what age are you part of your family's insurance?
I
Is
think
there a specific age,
I
or
don't
like
think
is
so.
because it's private insurance
Yeah,
your
it's
family's?
private
Okay.
insurance. We don't have we do have public insurance, but I think it's for like your income has to be really really low. So and again, it doesn't work in private hospitals. I think
Mm.
there's again even like these insurance are mutual. I mean not mutual. Our mutual is dependent on what how much you pay and what your plan is.
Mhm.
But your this thing Carte Vitale, I think they only pay 70% when you go to a public hospital. I think it's not with private hospitals.
Hmm.
If you have private hospital, then you have to have your mutual or pay the entire thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing with insurance here in France, which I feel like it's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been good so
Yeah.
far for me. But yes.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
what happened when you went to the radio? Like you got your radio done and you just went to the doctor. How did it work?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So one prescription was to get the X-ray. So I
Yeah.
went. I booked. Oh well, I made the appointment and I
Yeah.
went. And then after that, I was having a second prescription already with me.
Okay. That's
So
easy.
because I was like actually saying at first to the GP, to the generalist, like so what do I need to do after? Like I go to X-ray and then I come back here, so you will tell me like what to do. And he's no, he's gonna give you the X-ray, and then once you have the X-ray, you have to look on the app for another person to look into the X-ray, and then to make the like to tell you what is gonna happen.
I don't know. I think the doctor probably hates me or something.
But I don't know because here's the funny part. So after I got my X-rays and everything, I went to this. Well, I think I booked the wrong person. because it was a surgeon, orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
So I went to the hospital, and I mean, he was saying surgeon, but also like he was treating something else, no,
Yeah.
not only surgeries and stuff. So I went to it to this person, and then the assistant asked me like, what is your letter? But everything was in French, and I was like, where is the doctor's letter? And I was like, what letter? And like, I mean, everything that I have here is the X-rays and the other prescription. I mean, it's only these things what I have. No, no, no. You have to bring a different, like something done by a different doctor that was in sending me to this surgeon, probably,
Yeah.
or because he was a surgeon. I don't know.
Okay.
So I went with him, and I explained the whole situation. And because yes, I had this other prescription, right? So I went to him, and I explained the whole thing, and he was like, "Oh, but I'm a surgeon, and but let's look at it." So he started looking at the X-rays and this and that, and then he said like, "Yeah, that doesn't need anything else but a surgery." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, nothing else is gonna reverse the damage." And if you don't take the surgery, it's gonna just keep on. The damage is gonna just grow, and like this and that. But it's not also urgent, so you can still wait until the pain is until you get more pain.
Yeah.
And but if not, I mean, you need to fix that. It's gonna be only by surgery. And I was like, okay, but yeah, that was like, did I need to go to a different person before going to this person? I don't know.
Because in my case, first I visited the GP who sent me to get an X-ray. Then the X-ray reports came. Then I went back to the GP again to tell him that I have the X-ray now. Give me the treatment, and then he gave me another ordinance to go to a traumatolog, which is like a traumatologist, because my injury was like kind of like it required like a orthopedic surgeon. So, but when I booked the orthopedic surgeon on my app, it said that and this like it was the date was like after 15 days. So when I booked the date booked a date
With the doctor.
yeah, when I booked the slot with the doctor, it said that I needed another X-ray of the injured part 48 hours before. But to get that X-ray, I called up the surgeon that can you give me an ordinance because I can't just go and get an X-ray done. So I had to go back to my GP again to get another X-ray for another doctor. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm just going from GP to, I'm just like doing, that thing. So again, I went to my GP. He gave me, and I was like, can't you just give it to me on a call? Like, no, I had to visit him. And he asked me, what's up? And I was like, I just need this. And the appointment was over in 2 minutes. And I had to leave my work, go to the doctor, wait there for 15-20 minutes for no reason.
A whole task.
Yeah. I just need this and it's the same doctor. What has happened. Just give the thing to me. So then I got the X-ray, and then I went to my doctor again, the specialist.
Okay.
And now the specialist, he gave me another month to do. But this time, because I'm with the specialist and it's a hospital, I think maybe it's a little better. So when I visited the doctor now recently, he didn't I asked him do you want to see the X-ray results again, and he was like, yeah, you don't need it. Just before our appointment, just come 15 minutes before, and we'll get your X-ray inside the hospital. So the second time when it happened, I didn't have to get another X-ray. So I already have 2 X-rays printed from a different doctor, different radiologist. But now because I'm with a specialist in the hospital, so before my appointment with the doctor, so once I got my after now every time I visit my specialist before my appointment, I just visit there a little early, and then he sends me to the radiologist, and we get an X-ray done there, so I don't have to go back to my GP again.
Yeah. Sorry for you. You didn't get the prescriptions at first. Okay, so Priyanjana, how is your finger now?
Well, it's okay. I mean, I still need to wear it for a month, and then I'll visit the doctor again, and he'll tell me what exactly are we supposed to do. Do I need a surgery, or is it's going to be okay just like that? So we'll know.
Okay. And can you do the task now?
What task are we talking about? What do you mean?
When Lando asked to Lance,
Landstrom.
can you Can you what?
I refuse to make a comment on that question. But if you guys follow Formula One, you will know what she's asking. Dirty person.
Oh yes.
And but everything that is covered with the French insurance, but certain things aren't. Like the vaccines. You were
Oh,
telling me
yeah.
about your friend who wanted to get like the HPV vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The when she went. What she said. She mentioned that she needed to get that,
Yeah.
and like she was explaining to me to like how the whole thing, like like there is some medicine and stuff that is covered by the health insurance.
Yeah.
But she said that that one was not specifically covered by it, but
Yeah.
still like she could get the prescription and things and all
Yeah.
of that, and she could just make the payment. So I was like,
So she'll have to make the full payment for the vaccine.
yeah,
Okay.
apparently. But yeah, so that's not a good part.
Yeah. Yeah, because even in India, because all vaccines are free by the government unless you go in the private sector and get it done. And for us, like we need it for visas, all our vaccines, not specifically HPV.
But also this, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
also this one is covered by your insurance. In
I'm not sure. I'll have to check because HPV vaccine is relatively very new because it wasn't like a thing which was required to us as we were children. But now there is much more awareness around HPV and its vaccine, so people are getting it done. But again, there's like a thing that you have to get it done before 25, and I think in France the age is 18.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because well, in Mexico also, I think from what I've heard, one of my friends also told me like she kind of got these vaccines, but when you were younger.
Yeah.
And apparently, when I asked my mom like, "Hey, I have this and that," and she's like, "Oh, I don't remember you put I put this to you when you were younger."
Yeah, same with my family. So I think
Because like when there's health campaigns in the country,
yeah,
those vaccines are free.
yeah.
So
Yeah, like we've all got malaria, polio, those kind of vaccines already. Again, we're not medical practitioners, so we don't know. So if you are coming to France, just make sure you have all your vaccines beforehand, and if you need it, like because in France, otherwise you'll have to make full payment if you've not gotten them.
yeah, and also because some of if you come to study in France, the school also requires you to have a specific vaccines before you get into the
Yeah,
country.
I mean they never asked us for HPV, but for every other like tetanus, malaria, I think like whatever minimum basic COVID,
Yeah,
all those vaccines, we had to sign it from like a medical practitioner and tell them that we had to give our records and then get it stamped by the medical, like the GP from your country, that we have received all these vaccines.
the GP. What it means, GP?
General practitioner.
Good, thank you. So yeah, that's it. That's
all about it. If you have any medical questions, please don't ask Google. Go to a doctor. But if you have any questions regarding like the medical system, or if you want to know what problems we face, put it in the comment section. We will be happy to answer them.
If we know the answer by our own experience, of course, and if we
Yeah.
can also like help you with
Yeah.
getting to know the answers, we will do. And yeah, that's the episode of today. I hope we hope you have liked it. You have learned some new stuff, and you are even more motivated to come to France.
Yes. So if you want to come to France, you can watch all our other episodes. We just talk about things about our life in France and what you can expect when you come here. And if you're planning to come, what are the pros and cons of coming here and how to immerse yourself in the French culture. So if you want to need any other topics that you want to cover, just drop it in the comment section and we'll make an episode about it.
Oh yes, baby. Okay, thank you so much, guys,
À la
for
prochaine.
another. À la prochaine. Bye bye. You cut me off.